Rockets pregame show, starring Rick Renner and a cast of thousands. We're the hors d'oeuvre before your Rockets meal, counting you down to tip-off of the Hornets in Oklahoma City. Well, it's been a great start for the Houston Rockets, off to a first-place start of 6-1. We kind of like that in the preseason. I'm sure Jeff Van Gundy will tell you that he'd like to see more defense and like to win by 100 points, but you really got to like what they've been able to do. The only loss against Memphis, who also has had a great exhibition season. New additions of Stromile Swift and D.A. have been genius pickups. It looks to be an amazing season for the Houston Rockets. Swift may challenge Yao Ming for that rebounding title on the team. And welcome back to the show. Time now to head back to Oklahoma City and check in with the guys who are calling tonight's action. Bill Worrell and Matt Bullard. Should feel like a regular season game tonight, right, guys?
Yeah, right, Rick. I'm really glad the preseason's over with tonight, as a matter of fact. It really is just to get the players in condition, and I'm not sure they need 8 games for that.
Yeah, they don't need 8 preseason games. This is the final tune-up, and as a player, you really don't want to play this last game. You know, you've got one last game, and then you've got 5 days of practice before you're ready to start the regular season. Players right now are ready to start playing.
Well, obviously, Tracy didn't want to play because he's back in Houston. He didn't even make the trip, but he's got some tendonitis, and they don't see any need to play him. What did the Rockets accomplish in the preseason? We look at their stats. They scored 88 points a game, gave up 82, so defensively they're as good as they were last year.
Well, yeah, defense is a great calling card for Jeff Van Gundy, and every single one of his teams that he's head coach, his team has been in the top 5 in defense. So, obviously, defense is a benchmark for Jeff Van Gundy. Offense, at 88 points, like you said, I would like to see the Rockets up around 95 a game.
And Yao Ming continued his progress. I think he looks a little better than he did last year. Jeff Van Gundy told us don't look for big improvement, but I think that, he's done all right in the preseason getting in shape.
Well, he's been very, very efficient, and the thing about Yao is he's only played 26 minutes a game. When he can pump that up to 35 minutes a game in the regular season, watch out. He's shot 52%. Of course, shots like that make it easy. And 19.4 points per game, that's really getting it done in 25 minutes.
You see that pass from Stromile Swift. That's really going to come in handy, having those two down there. I think they'll benefit playing off of each other.
Oh, no question. Stromile Swift is a guy who doesn't need to handle the ball a lot, but he's a great weak side defender, which is really going to help Yao because Yao's not that great coming from the weak side, but Stromile Swift will get all the putbacks, and he'll be tearing the rim off this season.
One more question for you. You guys talked about Swift and how good he's going to be down in the front court with Yao Ming down low. How are the Rockets feeling about their backcourt right now? D.A.'s really been the only guy with consistency in the preseason.
Yeah, Derek Anderson has had a fantastic preseason. Shot over 50% from the floor, which is unheard of for a shooting guard in this area in the NBA. Really had a great preseason, and then David Wesley really struggled with his jump shot. So I would expect to see Derek Anderson get the bulk of the minutes at the start of the season because he's the guy who's really knocking down the shots.
And plus, Rick, I think with Rafer Alston, a smallish point guard, you will have David Wesley to come off the bench to guard the backup point guard, and I look for that to be the combination.
David Wesley was a great pickup for the Rockets last year in the middle of the season. He came over from the Hornets, where he was a star player for years. The Baylor sensation never forgets where he came from. And when he's not stopping and popping on the court, he's stopping with Bill Worrell.
Thank you, Rick. We're getting ready for the regular season, and it looks like David Wesley's getting ready for the regular season. That was more like David Wesley last night in your shooting against the Utah Jazz.
It was. It felt more like me, and it was nice to hit some shots that actually went through the basket instead of just hitting the basket. Felt like I had a lot more energy, felt better in my movement, and obviously my shot felt really good.
We know how important legs are to shooting, but you can start to think a little too much about your shot. Coming off the knee surgery, how much did that affect you?
It affects me a lot, just because, like you said, just thinking about it, your legs, your arms, your release, higher. A lot of my shots have been flat. Didn't play as much basketball this summer, so just starting to get into a rhythm, and it's a good time to be in one.
It really is, because we're getting ready to start the season. It's a much better team than started last season. You and John have had a full year with the team. D.A.'s come in. He's going to contribute a lot. And, of course, Stromile Swift. How do you like this team starting out this campaign?
I like it, and I think there's no reason why, we shouldn't get off to a quick start. We've been working really hard. The guys have got the plays. been playing well. It's just all up to us to come out there with the energy that Coach talks about and play together and go get it done.
You're playing against a New Orleans/Oklahoma City team tonight. What a star-crossed franchise this has been. You were building a new home in Charlotte. They went to New Orleans. I think you were settled in there. Then you came to Houston, right?
Yeah, just got settled in there, and here I am. But it's really a tragedy what happened in New Orleans, and for them to have to move here and then wonder what's going to happen next year. It's got to be a difficult time for this team.
Yeah, it really does. But they have a lot of young players, so they're probably pretty resilient.
I would think so. The young players don't have as much home base as some guys that's been around for a while. But I think about guys like PJ who lived in New Orleans and has all this stuff there.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for him, but I'm sure he'll do fine.
Good luck this season, David.
Thank you very much.
Rick, a couple of old veterans ready to get the regular season underway. Live from the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, FSN Houston presents Houston Rockets basketball. And tonight, the Rockets take on the New Orleans/Oklahoma City Hornets. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Worrell. Good to have you with us as the Rockets play their final preseason game, and they take on the Hornets, a beleaguered franchise. They had to look for a home after Hurricane Katrina. They came here to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has taken them in, warmly greeted them by selling 8,000 season tickets, so they're expecting good crowds here this season while they wait for their building to be rebuilt in New Orleans. So it's a home away from home advantage for the Hornets, Matt. But boy, what a franchise. They moved from, of course, Charlotte to New Orleans and now to Oklahoma City, but they've got a lot of young players.
Well, that's what they're doing, is they're rebuilding with young players. And I played for the Hornets in 2002 in Charlotte, and then they moved to New Orleans, and now they have to move to Oklahoma City. They don't know where they're going to be next year. So they got a lot of players that just are going to go out and play for NBA jobs. When you play in the NBA, you get paid, and that's all that matters.
Well, the Rockets, on the other hand, are laden with veteran players, and two of those are in the backcourt. David Wesley shot the ball like they think he ought to shoot it all season long. Derek Anderson's been a great addition. Those two can really get it done.
Well, Derek Anderson's been having a fantastic preseason, shooting 50% from the floor. He's a guy that the Rockets are going to look to give them some scoring punch there at the two-guard slot. And you can see he can shoot the basketball. He's really a great shooter. If he can play some defense, he'll get a lot of minutes. And then David Wesley really struggled in the preseason. Finally found his stroke last night, 4 for 6. That shot there looked a lot better.
And, of course, David played for Charlotte and New Orleans before coming to Houston, so he knows a lot of these guys across the court. Yao Ming has had an awfully good preseason, and he's ready for a big regular season.
Well, he came into camp in shape, 7.5% body fat. He has been very efficient in the preseason, getting it done inside and out and on defense. I expect to see Yao Ming's minutes pumped up in the regular season. Try to get him playing about 35 minutes a game. He should be very effective.
Time now for the Toyota Power Team. Keys to the game.
Well, this is the final preseason game. It's your last chance to round into game shape. You got to get it done now before it really counts. Key number 2, protect the basketball. The Rockets have averaged 19 turnovers a game, which is way too many. And key number 3, of course, in the preseason, stay healthy. Of course, Bill, you and I, we always stay healthy. We hit the peach cobbler tonight.
Got to, Matt. No doubt about it. Tracy McGrady will not play for the Rockets. He's back home in Houston. I was looking forward to seeing rookie sensation Chris Paul, but he will not play tonight for the Hornets. We're ready to go. Final preseason game, and it's coming up next on FSN Houston.
For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to the Ford Center in downtown Oklahoma City. We're just about ready for the final preseason game here tonight. Southwest Airlines starting lineups. And for the Houston Rockets, Juwan Howard, Ryan Bowen will be playing in place of Tracy McGrady tonight. Yao Ming, Derek Anderson, and Rafer Alston. For New Orleans, Bostian Nakbar, who was drafted by Houston, will be starting tonight along with David West. P.J. Brown, the veteran of 12 years in the NBA at the center position. Speedy Claxton will be starting in place of Chris Paul, and J.R. Smith, last year's #1 draft choice, will be at the 2 guard. We are just about ready to go, and we'll be back with the tip-off in just a moment on FSN Houston. Again, everybody, and welcome back to Oklahoma City. We're just about ready to get this one underway, the final preseason game before the Houston Rockets open at home Wednesday night, November the 2nd. Jeff Van Gundy will be leading the Rockets out. We would be showing him to you right now, but the arena is dark as they're introducing the
Let there be light
team, and as soon as I said that, they turned on the lights, so I guess they did pay the bill. And Jeff Van Gundy thinks he's gotten a lot accomplished this preseason. He was trying to find out his different combinations to see how he will start the season. He's very pleased right now with Derek Anderson's play, and he was very pleased with David Wesley's shooting last night, although he said that wouldn't determine whether Wesley was going to be a starter or not, because David does so many other good things. And he's not worried about it. Tracy McGrady, of course. He's resting him. Tracy has tendonitis in both of his knees, but I don't think they really felt any need. He'll be playing so many minutes this season, they just let him rest back in Houston. Byron Scott, the veteran, of course, he took the New Jersey Nets to a couple of NBA finals and then was rudely asked to leave, more or less, and he came to New Orleans, and Byron is a good basketball man. Of course, he won several titles with the Lakers back in his playing days. He's a good head coach, and he's got a good young team here.
Well, he went from L.A. Showtime winning championships. Now he's in Oklahoma City where they have the Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Well, he's having a great preseason, though, and he's happy, he's healthy, and ready to go. Jamal McGlure would normally be jumping center, but a couple of days ago they shipped him away in a trade to Milwaukee for Desmond Mason, who played here at Oklahoma State, and he's back here with the Hornets. Well, they threw it up, and neither guy was able to tip it initially. Speedy Claxton will be at the point. We will not see Chris Paul tonight, the 4th player taken in the first round. Has, what, a groin pull?
Yeah, the dreaded groin pull.
Yep, there's a missed shot. P.J. Brown, one of the best rebounders in all of the NBA, and the rebound goes to Rafer Alston. Rafer had a lot of rebounds last night, right down to Yao Ming, a quick pass for 2.
That's good basketball right there. Rafer Alston pushing the basketball on the dribble, getting the ball early to Yao before his defender can really bump him too much. Yao makes quick work of that 2 points.
Moki Nakbar, who got his start in Houston. Back out to Speedy Claxton. Looking down to David West. The one thing that the Hornets will be without this year is strong inside play. But they do have a lot of electrifying mid-range players. And David West, in his starting his 3rd year out of Xavier, is one of those nice players they like.
Well, they are rebuilding with young players, and when you have young players, you've got guys with a lot of energy. If Byron Scott can get his team to play hard every night, they've got a chance to win ball games.
Calling the play is Yao Ming, the tallest point guard in the NBA.
Playing point center.
Yeah, how about that?
Good play call, too. Maybe we should run that one again. Anytime you get an easy layup like that, Derek Anderson says, run that play again.
When you played with Akeem, he only knew one play.
And barely that one.
Well, that's the one to him, right?
Yeah, that was his play. Rudy would call the play, and I'd have to tell Akeem, go get on the box. It's for you, Akeem.
J.R. Smith with that miss, and now Ryan Bowen will set it up. They're looking for Yao Ming. Anderson did not have good spacing there, so he pulled it back out. Juwan Howard resets, leans in, blocked. Oh, David West came over and really blocked it, but I think J.R. Smith may have taken a shot to the chops.
How about Juwan Howard? Let's watch all these pump. There's a pump fake, thinking he's got an open shot, but what a recovery by the athletic West. And then Smith getting in the middle of that sandwich. Doesn't like that too much.
Well, you're going to see some athleticism. P.J. Brown is a very good rebounder and shot blocker, and West can get up, and of course Swift will be on the court in a moment.
Yeah, P.J. Brown, though, like you say, has been in the league for 12 years. One of the best guys you'll ever meet. I got to play with P.J. when I was on the Charlotte Hornets, and unfortunately for P.J., both of his homes in the New Orleans area were damaged by the hurricane.
Yeah.
He was just getting ready to move into a big home on Lake Pontchartrain, and it received extensive flood damage. So P.J. really, I talked to him before the game, and he's just really trying to survive right now and has to come in and play an NBA game.
Well, he got a double whammy too, Matt. He lived in Slidell, Louisiana, and his home was flooded, and then looters came in and took all of everything in his house.
Yep.
Derek Anderson with the miss, and there were 4 seconds on the shot clock. J.R. Smith to Boki Nakbar. Now that's one thing Boki's always been able. He runs the court very well, and they're making extensive use of that in the preseason. He's having a good preseason too.
Yeah, he's averaging 11 points a game, and if Boki can get some time, he can really put up some numbers.
Anderson gives it up. Juwan with one extra pass to Rafer Alston for a three, and he hits it.
I like it. Rafer knew who was in the corner. It was Ryan Bowen, and Ryan is not necessarily a shooter, so that time Rafer looked at the three-point shot and knocked it down.
We're seeing him start to look for his shot a little more as we get closer to the regular season. He was passing up his shot a lot in the preseason as PJ hits for two. But I think the coaches have encouraged him to look for his shot because Rafer is a pretty good three-point shooter at about 38% career-wise.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he is looking for that shot. Juwan Howard nails the top of the key jumper. Now that guy can really nail down some shots, and that's what we look for from that 4 position.
Last night he did not shoot it well. It was his poorest shooting game of the preseason. I think he made only 3 of 10, but he was itching. He was ready to shoot it tonight. And there's another basket. This young Hornet team scored 109 points in beating Miami in their last game out, so they can put some points on the board. They just give up a lot at the other end.
Yeah, defense is the thing that they need to work on. Of course, Byron Scott, when he was a player, was not known as a defender. His team is following in his image.
Ryan Bowen with the miss. Brown with the rebound. Well, he was on those Laker teams that could score a lot of points. Boki Nakbar with a three from the outside.
See, Boki really feels comfortable on this team and in this offense. When he was with Houston, he never really did find his niche there. And sometimes as a player, if you get traded to another team, you fit better with that team.
And of course, this is his 4th year too, so he ought to be raring to go. Nakbar came into tonight's game shooting 40% from the three-point line, so he's over that now. And Boki from Slovenia and starting his 5th season.
You mentioned 40% from the three-point line. How about 55% overall from the field?
Yeah,
that's pretty good numbers right there.
Rudy always liked him. When he drafted him in the first round, he had personally scouted him over in Europe and thought he would be a good player. But I don't know. In terms of knowing the game and being well-rounded, the Rockets did not have time to wait on him. They wanted to win now and get veterans. We're having some clock problems, and of course that happens in new arenas.
It happens in new arenas. It happens in the preseason. It happens in our truck right now. Our guys Tim Paris and Perry Furman struggling back there to keep this game on the air. Good luck, guys.
Well, while they're trying to figure it out, we're going to take a timeout with 8:14 left to play in the first period. So timeout due to clock. Early score, the Hornets up 11-9, and the officials, we've got some good ones tonight trying to get this order restored here. Dick Bavetta, Sean Corbin, and Derek Collins. Bavetta, one of the best in the NBA and has been for many, many years. Howard comes outside to set the play. Yao Ming's got it where he likes it. Nakbar comes over on the double team. Shot clock is down to 3 seconds. Owen puts it up and misses. The shot clock is off, so we won't be able to really tell. The PA announcer is coming on to let you know as P.J. Brown hits the jumper. And it's a 4-point Hornet lead. They're leaving Bowen open. This defense, Yao Ming hits, and he is fouled on the play. This reminds me a little bit of the way Dallas defensed them in the playoffs last year. Ryan Bowen is getting a lot of looks, and they're double teaming with his man, aren't they, Matt?
Yes, that's the shot that the Hornets want to give up. They know that Yao has got a huge advantage inside over P.J. Brown. And so every time Yao touches the ball, they're double teaming him right away, and they're rotating and leaving Ryan Bowen open. And that's the kind of open jump shot that Ryan Bowen is going to have to hit if he's going to get consistent minutes this year with the Rockets.
Yao is having a terrific preseason. As I said, he is number 6 in preseason scoring average at just over 19 points a game, and he's also doing pretty good in that free throw department, too. Got a whistle.
Foul on Rafer Alston. That's why they call him Speedy Claxton. Speedy had the ball on the wing and just pushed the accelerator down and went right to the hoop.
Now, Chris Paul, they say, is faster than Speedy.
Yep, now let's watch this. Speedy just, whoop, I'm taking it to the hoop, and Rafer gets in his way and bumps him. And like you say, Chris Paul, he's the real deal. We were looking forward to seeing him tonight, but he's got the dreaded groin injury and won't play tonight. But he is a legitimate Rookie of the Year candidate.
Down to 4 seconds on the shot clock. Knock bar from the deep corner. And P.J. Brown with another rebound. Yao did not go out to get him, and P.J. missed. And P.J. with a foul. Pretty heady play by Derek Anderson. He jumped over in front of P.J. Brown and drew the foul.
Yeah, that's the old veteran move.
Yeah.
You know the big guy's running behind you. Just step in front, stop, and draw the foul. P.J. mentioned that his family is in Humble, Texas right now, his wife and his kids, and I'm sure they're watching tonight's game, and so P.J. wanted to make sure we said hi to them. Hopefully P.J. can put his life back together here soon.
Yeah. Is that 3 fouls on him already? I think so, and he sits down as Michel Lampe checks in. Lampe out of Poland is a big guy, over 7 feet tall. Derek Anderson.
Get in there, ball.
Another veteran move. When you hear that whistle, go ahead and put it up. You never know what'll happen.
The thing about Derek is he's got such a soft touch. Now, he's been shooting 50% from the floor in the preseason, but let's watch as he drives in and he feels the contact. And watch his ball just bounce around so softly on the rim. That's the kind of touch that most guys do not have.
I believe the Rockets will lead the NBA in free throw shooting this year. They're at 80% after this will be their 8th preseason game. Yao Ming shooting 89% from the free throw line. Lampe will shoot from the outside. He's a pretty good shooter. He missed it. And the rebound to Rafer Alston.
Well, if you feel like your team's going to shoot 80% from the free throw line, take it to the hole and get more free throw attempts.
Yeah, you need to get there. That's the only advantage of having a front row seat.
You get to touch the basketball?
You get the ball passed to you occasionally.
You better be ready, though. Better not have your nachos in your lap. You'll have cheese all over you.
That's right. Hurry and eat. Bokey again from the corner, and he misses. Lampe lost the rebound. Nice pass inside. Bokey attacks Yao. That was a mistake. And West gets the loose ball to J.R. Smith. Smith, a terrific shooter, and the number 1 draft choice of the Hornets last year. Speedy Claxton wide open. He misses again. So the Hornets are taking long-range shots. They were successful on the first couple, but they've missed the last 4 in a row.
Ooh, the Ryan Bowen post-up.
Lampe right behind him. Anderson goes down the baseline. He is fouled.
That probably wasn't in the scouting report for the Hornets, thinking that Ryan Bowen was going to post up, but the Rockets were able to use that to their advantage.
Well, we have a timeout on the court with 5.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter, and the Rockets lead at 15-13. Rockets with a 2-point lead midway through the first period. Let's take a look at tonight's McDonald's League leaders. And these are the field goal percentage leaders in the preseason. And you're going to pencil Yao in there too, huh?
How about Derek Anderson?
Well, you're doing all the bookkeeping tonight.
Pretty good numbers for the Rockets there, don't you think?
And it also indicates where they're getting the ball in the offense.
getting it inside and then kicking it out to the shooters. But Strohmeyer Swift, how about that? 63%. If you dunk it every time, though, you got to have some high field goal percentage.
He's also made some pretty good-looking jump shots, and I think he's going to have a great year this year.
We see Juwan Howard starting at the power forward tonight, and I think that's the way the Rockets are going to start. I think Juwan feels a lot more comfortable as a starter rather than coming off the bench. And then Strohmeyer Swift is used to coming off the bench last season playing behind Pau Gasol with the Grizzlies. So Strohmeyer really giving the Rockets the punch off the bench in the second quarter when they need it most.
The difference in this year and last year, though, Matt, is he went back to the bench in a hurry at Memphis. I think he'll stay out there longer. He'll get more minutes here.
I agree. I think he will play more minutes this season than Juwan Howard will, but I think you'll see Juwan as the starter.
Looking down at Juwan Howard on the post-up. He's got West right on his hip. He'll turn and fire short. Rebound goes to Lampe. Snyder. Go ahead. I was just going to identify Snyder's in the game. And a turnover.
The thing about the New Orleans Hornets, or Oklahoma Hornets, or just the Hornets in general, that I've noticed here in the first period is that they're playing with a lot of energy. And if you've got young guys, that's the one advantage you have is energy. And if Byron Scott can keep his team playing hard throughout the entire season, they've got a chance.
And Ryan Bowen takes it to the basket and draws the foul. That is the 5th team foul already on the Hornets. The Rockets have not committed a foul. Well, they haven't been caught.
They haven't been caught fouling. Yeah, but the Hornets, defense is not their strong suit. They've got a lot of young guys, who have energy, but don't necessarily have the veteran knowledge of positioning and moving their feet and team defense. So the Rockets are taking advantage of that by going to the free throw line. But if the Hornets, the problem with being a bad team in the NBA is after you lose 10 or 15 games in the first month, then you really get down on yourself, and it makes it a long season. And Byron Scott's going to have a difficult time keeping his team in a positive frame of mind for the entire season.
That foul was called on Rajuel Butler, who was picked up in that big 13-player. What was it? 13 players traded, 5 teams in the offseason from Miami.
Biggest trade in NBA history.
Yep. And he was part of it. Miami really blew their team up, except for a couple of players. And Rafer Alston hits another 3. That was from somewhere over by the Cowboy Hall of Fame. He was way out there.
Well, like you said, he's starting to look for his jump shot more, and I like it.
Well, he's got to, doesn't he, Matt? He's got to shoot to keep him honest. Butler hits from the outside. He had a pretty good year last year in Miami. He is a very athletic type, one of those Philadelphia kids out of LaSalle in his 4th season. And Juwan hits again.
Now both teams turning up the tempo a little bit.
Yeah. Well, in that game I mentioned, the last game for the Hornets, they scored 37 points in the first quarter against the Heat. They went on and won that game handily, 111-91. So they can score. And a pushing foul on Juwan Howard.
Juwan doesn't like that call. He's talking with Dick Bavetta. Look, it gives him a nice little hug there. Juwan and Dick Bavetta has been probably Dick's refereed maybe, what do you think, 100 of Juwan Howard's games? But
more than that.
Juwan is upset because the last jump shot he hit, he felt like he got hit on the arm. And then to get called for that ticky-tack foul down low, he's upset.
5 points for Nakbar to lead the way for the Hornets. Rockets have spread the scoring out. Look at Lampe shoot from way downtown. He just did miss it, and the rebound goes to Snyder. He snuck inside, and he goes right back and puts it up. That's not very good defense by Houston.
And that's not good rebounding. There was 4 Rockets around him, and he was the guy who came up with the basketball.
Snyder 6'6". He shouldn't be getting a lot of rebounds in there between Howard and Yao Ming. Got to put a body on him. Juwan feeling it tonight, isn't he? He's not even hesitating.
No, he's looking for a shot first, and that's good to see. When you're feeling it, when you're in the zone, that's the only thing you should think about. And after going 3 for 10 last night, it's good to see that his jump shot's on tonight.
Howard has 6, Yao with 5, 6 for Alston, Anderson with 5, so the Rockets have spread it out nicely. And the whistle, and the ball was out of bounds off the Hornets. So we have a timeout now charged to Houston with 2:44 left to play in the first period, and the Rockets are up by 6. Back in Oklahoma City, Rockets leading it by 6. Matt, teach us some basketball.
Well, we've got this offensive play for the Hornets. Go ahead and run it. And we'll watch the Hornets take a bad shot right here. Now, as he shoots it, let's stop it right now. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, and here comes Rafer Alston inside. 4 Rockets defenders who've got to rebound the basketball. Go ahead and let it run. 1 Hornet is in the middle of 4 guys. That's just bad effort on the Rockets' part. See, guys are just standing around, and then there's no defense on the putback either.
Yeah, you got to get a body. Once you get a body on a guy, of course, you can't help it if the ball careens right to him.
Well, David Wesley was trying to box him out, but there was 3 other Rockets that weren't in a box-out position. They should have gone after the basketball.
Derek Anderson with that little fade away. Yao Ming right there secured. He's fouled from behind by Lampe. No whistle. And a steal by Rafer Alston. He's got Yao, and he bounce passes it to Yao Ming. I thought he might throw it up around the glass, but he gave him a bounce pass for 2, and Yao now with 5 points.
Not too many chances, or too many times you get a second chance in the NBA. Rafer Alston gave Yao an easy chance.
Speedy Claxton back to David West, and he attacks Yao Ming. He's 6'9", but he got up pretty good.
He got up pretty good, but I still don't think he could see the rim. He threw that up with the left hand, and it went in somehow.
Picked by Yao, shot from the outside.
That's easy money there. If I'm Derek Anderson, I'm going to look for Yao Ming to set a pick and roll for me every time, because you get behind that Yao pick and you can get an open shot every time.
Well, when Yao sets a pick, he just blots out the sun. Snyder goes through. Lampe from the outside. He's looking for a pass off. Gets it right back, and that was a little too close.
Lampe was looking for the pick and roll, and Snyder was giving him the ball back.
So Jackson Broman out of Iowa State. Kind of in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, Cyclones.
In his second season. And the charge. Good job. Yao Ming got in front of the smallest guy on the court.
Yao Ming, let's watch this. Speedy Claxton, all 5'11" of him, 165 pounds soaking wet. Oh, he just bowls right over it. Look at that. You see the collision there?
The mosquito and the elephant.
Yao is learning to act, isn't he?
See, ants can move.
Yeah, but it takes millions
Objects that are much bigger than they are.
It takes millions of them, Bill.
Well, there was just one of Speedy. Rafer with a nice fake. That got him open on a 15-footer, in and out. Rafer's hit a couple of threes, missed a short one. Look who's in the game. Stromile Swift. It doesn't take you long to find him. He had just checked into the game. He got the offensive rebound and the putback. Is he limping? He was limping last night, it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like he was limping a little bit coming down the floor. I don't know if he's stiff or if he has a bruise, but as a player, when you first come in the game, you're always a little bit stiff, and it takes a couple times up and down the court to get loose.
Rockets by 10 points. In the corner. Butler with a miss, and the rebound is Swift, gets up high. Yao Ming got swatted upside the head on that last rebound there. They're going to post up Derek Anderson. Anderson hooks up the jumper for 2. Now, they saw a weakness, Claxton on Anderson. That's a mismatch.
Oh, yeah, that's a mismatch. Speedy Claxton's not a big post defender, but that move by Derek Anderson was nasty.
Well, Speedy's 5'11". Derek's what, 6'6", 6'5"? And John Berry will check into the game for Houston. And Anderson will go out. What a good first quarter is Derek with 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting.
He's had a great preseason. He's really integrated himself into the Rockets offense. I expect to see a lot of good things out of DA this year.
19 seconds left to play in the quarter. And Butler gets pinned on the baseline. That defense by Houston is suffocating. John Berry looks up and checks the clock. The old veteran knows they've got plenty of time, 7 seconds. Alston will pull the trigger on the play. Stromile missed it. And that
buzzer indicates the end of the first quarter from Oklahoma City. It's the Rockets 31, the Hornets 19 on FSN Houston. Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to Oklahoma City, where the Rockets score 31 first quarter points to lead the Hornets 31-19. And Matt, the scoring was pretty well spread out. 7 points for Yao Ming, 9 points for Derek Anderson. Alston had a couple of threes, and Juwan Howard with 6.
59% shooting from the floor for the Rockets in that first quarter. 43% for the Hornets. That's the difference in the game so far.
And the Rockets will do that, giving up only 82 points per game. That's good for number 2 in the preseason. And the Rockets are allowing the opponents to shoot only 40% in 7 games.
One of the interesting notes that I read about Jeff Van Gundy is that every team that he's been a head coach has been in the top 5 in defense in the NBA. That is impressive.
Yep. After a while, you know it's not an accident. Stromile Swift back outside now. The Rockets will go right back to Swift. 5 on the shot clock. He works on Broman. Nice pass to Wesley. Sets, fires from the outside. Short, tipped up and in by Yao Ming. And Big Yao with 9 points. Averaging 19 a game in the first 7 preseason games.
Is that really fair? He could just stand there and tip it in like that?
I guess it is.
I wish I could do that.
What are you going to do about it? And Broman just scared to death. Lampay, though, stayed with it and put it back up and in. The only difference, is Yao, he'll jump once. That second jump is a little slow in coming, so if he's calculating the jump, it's going to be hard to get him, and he did not get his post up because Lampay fouled him.
Lampay's been very aggressive on the offensive end. Not shy about shooting the ball. Was able to get that putback on the last possession, and now on the defensive end, he's been giving Yao the business.
Lampay in his 3rd season out of Poland. You look down these NBA rosters now, and most of them will have a minimum of 3 foreign players.
I like it, Bill. I think that's great for the league. I think if you're going to call it the World Championship, it might as well be the World Basketball League.
There you get a little taste of what you're going to see in the regular season. Rafer Alston now taking a little more on himself. I'm sure that when Tracy McGrady is back in the starting lineup, he probably will defer more to T-Mac. But I think T-Mac would even tell you he wants to see Rafer jump out there and be more aggressive. That opens it up for everybody else.
Don't worry, Bill. Be happy. Rafer is.
Always smiling, isn't he?
He's giving you a taste of New York City is what he's doing, and he's
Skip to Malou.
Yeah, throwing the teardrop in on one end and then not liking the call too much on the other end. But like you said, Rafer's really starting to look for a shot more, and I like it. I think he is a great scorer, and when Tracy McGrady is not on the floor, you're going to need some guys to pick up that scoring punch, and Rafer can do it.
You saw Yao Ming exit the game after 13 minutes with 9 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. Juwan Howard has checked in now for Yao. Kurt Snyder from the outside threw up a brick. I'll tell you another thing, too, Rafer Alston. He'll get you about 4 or 5 rebounds a game. He had 8 last night.
Yeah, another road game that I did, he had 6, and that's something about Rafer that I didn't know, that he was in there with the big guys getting rebounds.
Like Bob Sura.
Yeah. Whenever you have a point guard on your team, and Bob Sura did this for the Rockets last year, whenever you have a point guard getting rebounds, that just takes a lot of the pressure off the big guys. And, of course, if Rafer gets a rebound, he can just push it on the fast break.
Exactly. And you better hustle to stay with him because he's quick. Nice fake by Wesley. Passed up the shot. Juwan's been hot. There's a veteran player in David Wesley. They're going to count the basket, and a loose ball foul is called on Stromile Swift. Yeah. You know what he did then? He knew who had the hot hand. Juwan has not missed. So he said, I'm going to give it to Juwan instead of shoot it, and he did. Juwan Howard buried the jumper, and Stromile Swift was called for a loose ball foul.
That's a very unselfish play by David Wesley, and that's the kind of play that goes unnoticed a lot, but this Rockets team does that quite often.
Lampay goes up high for the rebound. That big guy's playing hard.
He's got 3 rebounds. He just took that one away from Stromile.
Butler takes it down to J.R. Smith. J.R. with a steal by John Berry. Barry's got Stromile Swift underneath. Gives it up to Raper. They'll set up the offense. You come down early and look for the fast break. You don't have it. Whew. Go right into your secondary. All right, let's see how Lampe can jump. Well, he's not going to have to. Raper Alston got the pass. And the rebound goes to the Hornets. Oh, goodness. Snyder. That's a terrible shot. I don't think that's their offense, is it? John Barry, nobody picked him up, and John draws the foul going to the basket. Such a heady play.
Yeah, the Oklahoma fans don't like that call, but that is the correct call. Let's watch this as John Barry goes to the hoop. The defender's inside the restricted area. You see his foot was in that little area in there. Watch his feet. There's his foot right there inside. And whenever the defender's inside that restricted area, you cannot draw a charge. It's an automatic blocking call, and John Barry knew that. He knew if he drew the contact, he was going to be shooting free throws.
These are knowledgeable college basketball fans because they see a lot of Oklahoma State with Eddie Sutton in Oklahoma. They've got some good college programs up here, but that little circle is what they're going to have to get used to. You see a lot of charges in college ball, but not in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's, as a basketball player, I hated the charge. I don't think that's good defense. If you step in front of somebody and fall down, I never thought that was good defense. Of course, that is legal in the rules, but just as a player, I just thought, if the guy's taking you to the basket, let him go in there and dunk it.
Well, don't you think that's what the NBA's been trying to do with these latest rules changes? No more hand checking, no more bumping on the perimeter.
Yep. The NBA, they changed the legal defense rules about 6 years ago, and they gave the defense the advantage. And I think the NBA has been trying to clean up the defense to give the offense the advantage back so that we have high-scoring games.
Arvidas has checked into the game. On rebound, Moochie Norris had the inside position, but it went over his head. Fresh 24.
Arvidas got that rebound. How do you say his last name, Bill?
I'm going to give it to you in just a moment. There he is right there, number 6, and he threw the pass away. John Barry laying in the weeds. Moochie Norris getting some minutes now.
I love the foreign influence on the NBA game, but I know as a play-by-play guy, Bill, you hate it.
I don't hate it if I can. If he's not involved in a fast break. Rajul Butler puts it up and misses, and Juwan Howard with a rebound. It is Arvidas Matsiasis, and he is from Lithuania, and he has a real good chance to make the rotation here. They really like the way he's been playing. Juwan Howard hasn't missed, has he? Unbelievable. 10 points for Juwan Howard. 41-21. He's ready for the season, isn't he? Because that's the way he's going to look, and he'll be starting again this year. He was a starter last year, so you can't lose your starting position due to an injury. He'll be back in the starting lineup when we tip it off Wednesday night, November 2nd. Well, I think the Hornets have seen enough, and Byron wants to take a timeout. 7:44 left to play in the second. The Rockets with a 20-point lead. 7:44 left to play in the second quarter, and it's up to the Rockets now. The Astros were swept in the World Series, but I want to say right now, congratulations to Drayton McClain and the Houston Astros management, Tim Purpura, the general manager, and just what a great job the Astros did this year getting to the World Series, and they just ran into a buzzsaw in the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox played great baseball in the World Series, and you got to take your hats off to them. They played great, but what a great job the Astros did, and how about the city of Houston, how they got so excited for the Astros.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, Matt. Remember 94-95 when the Rockets won their 2 NBA championships. The city of Houston just went absolutely bananas.
Yep.
I love Houston as a great sports city, and a 22nd timeout now taken on the court. Houston, a great sports city. We've known that for a long time, and Phil Garner and the Astros really made us proud this season, and I don't care if they were swept. I don't want to look at the negative side of it. It was a winning season for the Astros. Now the Rockets, and I know T-Mac is a big basketball fan, and he's watching tonight. He has promised that the Rockets are going to carry that tradition on, and I think the Rockets are headed for big things this year. Stromile Swift is going to add a lot of depth. Juwan Howard looks ready to go. Wesley's shot's coming around. Yao Ming looks improved, and that man right there may be the best coach in the league, Jeff Van Gundy. And over there with Tom Thibodeau, Steve Clifford, Andy Greer, Patrick Ewing. That's a great staff, great management with Carol Dawson. He's on the trip with Dennis Lindsay, and of course our owner Les Alexander, who spares no expense.
Should be a great year, Bill. And if you look at the lineup that the Rockets have on the court now, Juwan Howard and Stromile Swift are on the court at the same time. So Stromile Swift moving over to the center position. I like this lineup that they have out here now, too, a very small lineup.
And you got to go small in this league now, don't you, Matt?
Well, if you can go small, that just adds some flexibility and adds some matchup problems. Moochie Norris, right down the lane, you see how the offense really spread out that New Orleans defense, and Moochie taking advantage, taking it down inside. But if you have that flexibility on your roster, that's definitely a weapon you can use.
The Rockets look sharp tonight. They're ready to go. And Butler is fouled. And Barry said, I fouled him with my chin?
Yep. John Barry fouled Butler right on the shoulder with his chin. I hate when that happens. The only thing worse is if it would have drawn blood out of his nose.
Oh, got a little left elbow.
See, there's the foul right there. See, John Barry fouls him right on the elbow.
You got to wear a mouthpiece, John. But John likes that chatter. He wouldn't like a mouthpiece.
He's got some pretty good chatter, too. I played golf with him this summer. He's got a he talks a pretty good game, too.
Got the needle, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, that's the first easy shot that the Hornets have gotten. Good hustle by Wesley. And Arvydas is putting his nose right in there.
Yeah.
Matsiakis. Arvydas Matsiakis, and he is out of Lithuania. They've had pretty good Lithuanian players come over.
They have.
Another Arvydas that I can think of.
Yeah. And Marciulionis, was he Lithuanian?
Marciulionis,
yeah.
Sabonis.
Yeah. We have talked a little bit about the European influence on the NBA, and I'm a big hockey fan, Bill, and the European influence has always been huge in the NHL, and now it's becoming big in the NBA, and I really think it's great for the game. I think, the American players are more athletic and have been playing, the game of basketball for a long, long time, but the European players are really catching up, and South America is now bringing in some great players, too, and I just think that influence is really good for the game.
Well, the Americans have been more athletic, but I think now that gap has really closed over the last 5 years. And we've seen it in the international competition. If you don't bring your best players, you're going to get beat.
Well, the other thing about international players is their skill level is so high.
Well, Stromile Swift is called for an offensive foul. So Dick Babetta's got both eyes trained on Stromile.
Right now. A little lob pass in there to Stromile. There's the hook right there.
That's a good call.
It's a good call and easy to make one. Stromile's got that big black thing on his arm. Shows up well on a white jersey.
Good point. Should he get a white elbow guard?
Yeah, you should always wear your pads should be the same color as the opponent's jerseys. That way you can get away with a few elbows and stuff like that.
See, that's a veteran, folks.
You ever wonder why Akeem had two different color elbow pads and knee pads?
I do now. J.R. Smith hits a three from the outside, and he has 5 points. Smith and Nakbar are back in the lineup now for the Hornets, along with West. Roman. Moochie picked up a double team. That leaves Juwan open down low, and he missed the jump hook. Quickly out to Speedy Claxton. Wow. Again, Smith. Oh, my goodness.
I think he thought he was feeling it.
Well, he was feeling something.
It certainly wasn't a jump shot.
John Barry. Down to Stromile Swift. Swift working on West. Jumper, missed it. And it's loose. Good job. Oh, no-look pass by Barry, and Stromile lightly slams it home.
How about John Barry?
I love him.
I love those no-look passes. He didn't need to do that, but he's flashing.
Well, it kind of reminds you, it's a throwback to his daddy's days. His daddy was the best no-look passer I ever saw, Rick Barry. Steal by Moochie Norris, and Bokeh grabbed his arm.
Clear pass.
Was he far enough up the court? So we've got a timeout on the court. When we come back, the Rockets with the lead on FSN Houston.
Let's make some noise now.
Rockets shooting 58% with 5:05 left to play in the second quarter. So John Barry leading the Rockets out with Moochie Norris, Stromile Swift. Yao Ming is back in the game with David Wesley. David entering his 13th NBA campaign. He started actually in the Houston Rockets camp. Carol Dawson invited him for a free agent signing. The Rockets had a lot of veterans. He was cut. He went to Wichita Falls in the CBA. Then played 3 or 4 seasons with Boston before he went to Charlotte. Now he's in Houston. What a way to... It's interesting that he started his career in Houston. And maybe he will finish it here. Turnover Houston. Bokey steps back into the corner. Good pickup by David. J.R. Smith will set up the offense. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 5 seconds. David West will back it in over Stromile Swift. You have to shoot it so quickly to get it over Swift that sometimes you're off the mark.
Whoa. Fastball high and outside, Bill.
Boy, Stroh just buzzed it right under the chin of Yao Ming.
Let's watch this entry pass. Woo! No chance for Yao to catch that one.
Double team. Yao comes out, picks up the ball. Bokey Nakbar rings it out. Yao with a rebound. Yao's averaging 6 rebounds a game in the preseason. And for Yao tonight, that's his 5th rebound with 9 points.
The Rockets have been shooting the basketball very well in this game, but their turnovers, Bill, are still... There's another one. 2 turnovers in a row from Stromile Swift. A bad pass and then a charge. Let's watch this replay. Stromile just pulls his way in. Good defensive position.
Yeah, Jackson Broman got over there in time. Well, Swift, that's 3 fouls on Stromile Swift.
You see the Rockets with 6 turnovers, and they are averaging 19 turnovers a game. And this being the last preseason game, you don't want to see a whole lot of turnovers. You want to see your team be sharp. And I know Jeff Van Gundy, he hates the turnovers.
Well, they've looked sharp up to this point, and the one thing that never lets the Rockets down, their defense. Look at Bokey. Goes in there, and Yao Ming scared him to death. Quick outlet pass.
Yao affected the shot and got the rebound.
John Barry sets up the play for Houston. 15, 14, 13 on the shot clock. Ryan Bowen in the game. Barry with that fadeaway from the top, just short, and Broman quickly out to Speedy Claxton. Bokey, you can tell, playing with much more confidence. Whistle and a foul on Mooch.
Confidence is a big part of an NBA player's game.
Timeout on the court, 2:59 left to play in the first half, and the Rockets have scored 45 points. So the Houston Rockets shooting 56% from the field and holding the Hornets to 38% shooting. And so far for Houston, Juwan Howard leads the way with 10 points, 9 for Yao Ming. Rafer Alston with 8, Derek Anderson with 9. And 8 points off the bench for the Houston Rockets. And they're looking pretty sharp.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. This is the final preseason game, and there's going to be 5 days of practice before we open up on the November 2nd. I know Jeff Van Gundy is excited about 5 days of practice, and his players may not be quite as excited about it.
Well, he said he's going to cut back a little bit in terms. He wants them to have their legs when the season starts.
I think Jeff Van Gundy really has a great feel for this team. He's really got his finger on the pulse of this team on when they can go hard and when they need some rest.
Bokey Nakbar rims it out. Ryan Bowen.
Flying Ryan.
Jeff Van Gundy told me earlier today he'd like to have 11 Ryan Bowens. I mean, but the way he hustles, his type of work ethic.
Well, if you have one, that can rub off on the rest of your team, and I think that's what Ryan Bowen does, and that's why Jeff Van Gundy likes him so much.
A very tough shot. He just never slows down. You keep thinking, last year everybody said that would be the last year for John Barry, and he was thinking about retiring, but he said, I had so much fun, I decided to come back for a 14th year. Speedy Claxton takes it up for 2.
I think it's difficult for a guard to play long years in the NBA, but John Barry's making it look pretty easy this year.
Well, Matt, he's been on so many losing teams. I think this is a chance for him, you know, realistically, to make a run at a championship, and he would love to go out that way.
John Barry's so competitive, like you say, and he's played on some really bad teams.
Rebound to Broman. 1:40 left to play in the first half. Whistle. And a foul on David Wesley. The one thing I think with Wesley, John Barry, you can beat them off the perimeter, can't you? But the helping defense of Houston, it provides help for the older players.
Yeah, John Barry, David Wesley, some of the older guys like that, their lateral quickness is not as fast as it used to be. And if you have a team defensive concept, which the Rockets do, they've got a very, very good team defensive concept with the weak side help and the rotations. You can get away with having some slower-footed out perimeter players if you're playing your good team defense.
That's what Derek Anderson told us last night after the game in the interview. He said, he's played for a lot of coaches, but this is the most demanding defense that he's played for. It really helps out a lot of players. They're trying to improve the perimeter defense to help Yao Ming out.
Yep, Yao gets a lot of fouls when he has to pick up other people's men.
Nice move by Yao inside, and he's called for an offensive foul.
Well, that's unfortunate because Yao made a nice strong move to the basket, and we'll watch him. He's got a much, much smaller guy on him. If he bumps into him, the guy is so much smaller than Yao, what's going to happen?
Well, they usually give Shaq that call, don't they?
Yeah. Yao is just so much bigger as he goes in there, and he bumps into somebody. For sure it's going to look like a foul.
Whistle, and a foul is called on Rafer Alston. And for Rafer, that's his second foul of the game. That was the first foul on Yao Ming. And both teams are in the penalty now for the final 114, as Moochie Norris will come back into the game for Alston. And he's not happy.
Well, Rafer is very competitive, too. And he feels like that his two fouls have taken him out of the game, and he wants to be on the court playing. And that's the kind of guy you want to have. You want to have a guy who wants to be out there playing hard.
You know, it is. If you're just watching as a fan, it's hard to understand how you can just barely touch a guy on the perimeter, and yet inside the paint, it looks like a couple of sumo wrestlers going at it, huh?
Basketball is a very difficult game to officiate. There's so much contact. The basic definition of a foul is contact that gives one player an advantage over another.
Yeah.
Very difficult to discern that at times.
That's a good point, yeah. The best ones do. That's why when you get a good veteran official like a Dick Pavetta, and he'll admit to you, he'll miss a bunch of calls during a game. That's just natural, but you try to get it right. When you get a good veteran, you stay with him as long as you can. Moochie Norris will put it up, in and out, won't go. Ryan Bowen's hustling and knocked it out of bounds. 51 seconds.
I agree with what you said about Dick Pavetta. He has always been my favorite official, and the reason why is because he'll tell you, hey, I missed that call. I'll do better next time. And as a player, how do you argue with that?
Yeah.
You know, because as a player, you don't make every shot you take. You're going to try to make the next one, though. And Dick Pavetta, he's always been honest and said, hey, I missed that one. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better next time. And that's the kind of mentality that I wish all officials had.
Volke. West from the baseline, and Yao just was going to make him make that jump shot until he did. He didn't go out to guard him. And we have 30 seconds left, so the first quarter belonged to Houston, but the Hornets are gradually getting back into this game here in the second quarter. Right down to Yao on the post, 11 on the shot clock. Yao picks out Moochie. Extra pass to Wesley. Moochie's open by design in 3 seconds. But when he faked that ball then, that got Yao in trouble. You got to shoot it, Mooch.
The best advice I ever got was from Don Chaney my first year. It's better to shoot an open shot and miss it than to not shoot at all. Moochie should have shot that one.
And that's music to a shooter's ears when a coach says that.
Hey, if you got an open shot, you got to take it.
A few moments ago, the Hornets were down by 22 points. 1 second left as Volke gets it off in time, and it's short. So the Rockets do a good job in that first half of shooting 56% from the field and holding the Hornets to only 40% shooting. And here at halftime, it's the Rockets 47 and the Hornets 33. Stay with us. Tonight's Lexus halftime report comes your way after the break. Rockets leading it by 14 at halftime, and Matt, even without Tracy McGrady, the offense looks pretty good.
They're right on, hitting on all cylinders. Juwan Howard having a great first half. Derek Anderson having a great first half. The Rockets shooting 56% in their offense. T-Mac, who's that?
I'll tell you in just a minute if you don't know, but we're gonna, when the season starts, he'll be ready to go, and we'll be ready to go with the second half in just a moment.
Houston Rockets leading in just about every statistical category, and if you look down there at the assist and 5 steals for Houston, so they're getting it done offensively and defensively. And in the individual scoring, the Rockets have spread it out. Juwan Howard with 10, Yao Ming with 9, Anderson with 9, 8 for Rafer Alston, Stromile Swift with 4, and 3 fouls. And David West leads the way for New Orleans/Oklahoma City. Just announced the Hornets will open their season next Tuesday night, and they have limited tickets available. They're sold out for their opener, and it's against the Sacramento Kings. And the Kings will fly to Houston and open up the season with the Rockets next Wednesday night, November 2nd. We've got limited tickets for you, too, and we want you to be there for opening night. And, boy, that's the same play the Rockets started the game with.
Yeah, I always want to go inside to your big man, get the inside game started early. Yao Ming with the hook shot to start the game and a hook shot to start the second half.
You know, Matt, he worked on that jump hook in the summer back in China. In fact, Tom Thibodeau, the Rockets assistant coach, went to China to work with his footwork and Yao's jump hook. Boy, if he continues to hit that shot, he's going to be double trouble.
He's got the size advantage over anyone he plays against. When he can get the feel for where the defense is, that's a nice post move there.
There's the Shanghai Shake.
Yeah, didn't get the ball to drop, but his post moves have been much more aggressive and much stronger this year, and I think that's really going to help him.
Now, I'm not trying to compare him at all to Hakeem Olajuwon. That's unfair this young in his career, but Hakeem had the jump hook to the middle and the dream shake to the baseline, and we just saw both of those moves from Yao. Maybe a little slower than Hakeem used to do them, but the same moves.
Yep. You got to have your basic move, and for Hakeem, that was a jump hook to the middle, and then when the defense took that away, then he went to the baseline fadeaway.
Look at that speedy Claxton, the smallest guy on the court, takes it in, up and under Yao Ming.
Well, that's what we were talking about with Yao having to pick up people penetrating in from the outside, and you see Speedy gets by Rafer, and then Yao's got to pick him up. I don't know where the foul on Yao was. It looked more like Rafer fouled him.
They did call it on Rafer.
Did they? Well, there's a foul on Rafer, but when Yao has to come in and pick up quick guys inside on help side defense, he's not very good at that yet.
Well, they put down 4 fouls for Rafer Alston, so
it looked like to me the foul was on Rafer, and now Rafer's sitting on the bench.
And almost a steal. Yao saves it. Moochie Norris is in the game now for the Rockets. Gets a double team on the press. Rockets can't handle the pressure. Up inside and a foul. And that's the NBA foul. Just don't give him a shot and a possible 3. And Juwan Howard put the clamps on him.
We'll watch Juwan Howard with the hard foul, but also grabbing a hold of him and not letting him slam himself on the floor. That's a good, hard NBA foul from Juwan, but also a little bit of class there, not letting the youngster J.R. Smith slam on the floor.
Number 1 draft choice, straight out of St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey, and last year he finished the season 5th in scoring, 3rd in three-point field goals made, 2nd in three-point field goals attempted, and 9th in three-point percentage among the rookies. He was one of the top Western Conference rookies last year.
He was Rookie of the Month.
November, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. Moochie giving it up to Juwan. Gets it right back. The purpose for the press, pick up the tempo a little bit.
Pick up the tempo. The half-court defense for the Hornets was not getting it done.
How about that power move by Yao Ming?
And that's the aggressiveness we're talking about, the power that Yao has built up over the summer, and he's putting it to good use. There's 3 guys fouling him right there. He's able to put the ball in the basket. There's a nice little pump fake. That's a nice post move there.
That looked like the Hornets swarming.
Yeah. The Hornets were not able, their defense in the first half gave up 47 points and 56% shooting, so Byron Scott said, well, that ain't cutting it. Let's try the full court press, and if the Rockets can beat the full court press, they'll get easy shots on the other end.
So it's 52-38 now, Houston. And West will shoot it. David West, nice-looking young player out of Xavier. He'll be starting his third year in the NBA. 12-point Houston lead. It was 14 at halftime. Juwan has hit that shot all night long, and they don't believe it.
Well, and young David West still doesn't believe it, and Juwan says, keep giving it to me, I'll knock it down.
12 points for Juwan Howard. Gal come out on the perimeter. 5 on the shot clock. J.R. Smith got anxious. So the Rockets defense forced that shot. That's the best they could get. And an offensive foul on Lucci Norris. That was a pretty good fake, though, by Claxton.
When Moochie put that right arm out, Speedy Claxton fell to the floor and was able to get that call. But the Rockets defense, going back to that, Bill, that's where they hang their hat. And this New Orleans Hornets team is very, very young, and sometimes they're going to just give up.
Backdoor play by Claxton, and look at Derek Anderson come over and get the block. What an athletic play by Derek Anderson. Moochie will wait for Yao to set that pick. And Moochie puts it up and in. Oh, no, they called an offensive foul on Moochie Norris. Back-to-back offensive fouls by the Mooch.
Rafer Alston sitting on the bench with 4 fouls. Moochie Norris, he's got 3 now. We'll get some aggressive play out of our point guards, aren't we, Bill?
Who's the backup point guard?
Well,
the third deep.
Luther Head.
Yeah, I guess so. That may be one area the Rockets might be concerned about setting the final roster, wouldn't it be, Matt? There's a layup by David West. When they set the final 15, I know Deion Glover's still on it, but he hasn't played in the preseason. Would you look for a backup third point guard, maybe? Foul on P.J. Brown.
Yeah, that's where the Rockets have kind of a log jam. They've got Rafer Alston as a starter. They've got Tracy McGrady, who can play the one, and I would expect to see him play some point guard position this year. And then you've also got Moochie Norris, who's had a real nice preseason, and then you've got Luther Head, who can play either the point guard or the off guard spot. So a lot of options there for Coach Van Gundy.
Derek Anderson out on the perimeter. Nice pickup by JR, and a foul on J.R. Smith.
Derek Anderson looks like he's just playing under control. His pace to his game, his rhythm of his game is just so smooth, and he doesn't look like he's rushing anything. He doesn't look like he's hurrying anything, and he's shooting a great percentage, 50% for the preseason. What a great free agent pickup by the Rockets.
And remember, when he came out of the University of Kentucky, what was it, about 8 or 9 years ago, he was very heralded and had some really good years in the NBA. I thought he played very well when he was in San Antonio with the Spurs. Played pretty well the first couple of seasons in Portland, then got buried on the bench, but that was a tough situation in Portland.
Yeah, Portland is a team that's really struggling right now. I guess that's all you can say, and they're looking to rebuild, and Derek Anderson wasn't in their plans. Of course, Derek Anderson was making a ton of money with Portland.
And that's the second three-pointer of the game for the Boat. He's got 8 points. Inside to Juwan. Nice fake on West, drew the foul and almost made the basket. So Juwan Howard will go to the free throw line. The Rockets, as a team, shooting 80% from the free throw line, 8 of 9 tonight. Watch this veteran move.
Get the defender in the air, and then draw a little contact, and still try to make the shot for the three-point play.
Juwan is shooting 83% from the free throw line. Listen to this. Yao Ming shooting 89%. Tracy McGrady his low man on the totem pole was 72%, 83% for Howard, 83% for Anderson, 86% for Luther Head. Matumbo's 12 of 13 for 92%.
Oh my goodness. You know the number on there that I think is an anomaly? David Wesley, 72%.
Well, he missed 3 in the game last night. That really hurt him. Strohmile's only a 60% free throw shooter. Everybody else shooting it. J.R. Smith hits a three-pointer. He has 12 points. 10-point lead now by Houston. Derek Anderson. He misses. And it's tipped out of bounds by Houston. Rockets had a big first quarter, outscoring the Hornets 31-19. And since then, the Hornets won the second period. They're winning the third. Akbar picked up the dribble, back to Bob. PJ shoots it over Yao Ming. PJ Brown with 6 points. And it's an 8-point Houston lead. And Jeff Van Gundy wants to call a timeout. Right now, the Rockets are not executing. And they've given the Hornets a little bit to buzz about. 6:50 left in the third. They are loving it in Oklahoma City. A chance to experience NBA basketball. This may be the only year that happens. If New Orleans is able to return to New Orleans when they rebuild that city after Katrina. But these fans really jumped out in style when they offered their city up to the Hornets franchise. They sold 8,500 season tickets the second day.
This is a pretty nice building, too. It's got everything that an NBA owner would want. You know, a lot of seats. It's got some luxury suites up there, and of course, you get some Rockets fans.
Well, that's what they're going to see a lot of. There are a lot of Rockets jerseys in this crowd, and in fact, there may be, when the other teams come to town, there may be more fans of those teams than the Hornets are going to have to establish a base here.
Yeah, they are, and I would imagine when the Dallas Mavericks come to town, there'll be all kinds of Dallas Mavericks jerseys.
Yeah, this is their TV market. You're right.
But New Orleans wasn't really coming out in droves to watch the Hornets last year. So the Hornets will at least have some bodies in the seats here in Oklahoma City. And as a player, you don't care if they're cheering for you or against you. You just want some energy and some noise.
And a blocking foul was called on Nakbar. Didn't get there in time.
Derek Anderson trying to use that big Yao Ming pick, and Boki Nakbar not quite able to establish position.
Now, Nakbar may have a point. He thought he was tripped by Yao Ming, and that may have been an illegal pick. That's the 15th foul on the Hornets. The Rockets have only 2, so Derek Anderson will shoot the bonus free throws.
You mentioned the Rockets have been shooting the free throws very well in preseason. They are 11 for 12 tonight. They've got 12 for 13.
Well, that wins you a lot of close games, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Rockets weren't happy the way they played against the Hornets. Of course, the Hornets one of the worst teams in the NBA last year, but they split the series 2-2. And a foul is called on Ryan Bowen. That's the third team foul on Houston.
Well, last year the Hornets came back from an 18-point deficit to beat the Rockets in Houston on April 1st, and that's not the kind of game that you want to lose to a cellar dweller like the Hornets.
Yeah, I remember that because Elvin Hayes stepped in and did the cellar job that night, and he was amazed. Yao Ming with goaltending.
That ball was going to be short. Yao didn't need to block it. P.J. Brown trying to flip it up there, but, well, it looks like it may have gone in.
Pretty good to me. Mucci gets all the way down the baseline, sets up Derek Anderson for a 3.
That's easy money there. Derek Anderson with the pick and roll from Yao didn't even use Mucci didn't even use the pick. Was able to drive baseline and found Derek Anderson for an easy jump shot.
Mucci's played very well when called upon this preseason. And out of bounds. That's going to be a Hornet turnover.
Oh, I hate that one. The out-of-bounds 3 that goes in.
I don't know how much Mucci figured into Houston's original plans, but I think at the first preseason game, he played very well. There you had a look at the Hornet bench.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to expect Mucci to play a lot of minutes this year, but when he is called upon, he has shown here in the preseason that he's ready to play. Whenever you can get some confidence from your coach, that's going to carry you a long way in preseason and regular season.
Traveling.
Flying Ryan with the travel.
Well, he didn't feel like he had to put the ball on the floor.
Ryan just moves so fast out there on the court. I think sometimes the officials, just freaks him out.
Oh, yeah, right.
See Flying Ryan out there going crazy.
Well, one thing that Press did that the Hornets applied to start the third quarter, it increased the turnovers for both teams. And Speedy Claxton now with a three-pointer to get the double pull.
The Rockets with 12 turnovers, 4 here in the second half so far.
Well, it's down to an 8-point game now. It was 14 to start the quarter. Mucci's open. Mucci misses. J.R. Smith with the rebound. David West will back it in on D.A. Akbar was calling for that ball. Koki with a 3. That's 3 3-pointers for Boki Nakbar. He has 11. West with 10. 12 for Smith. And it's a 5-point Houston lead.
Well, I mentioned that the Hornets looked like they were playing with a lot of energy to start the game. They are definitely playing with a lot of energy here in the second half.
Loose ball foul on Juwan Howard.
We watch Juwan Howard here going in for the rebound, a little push in the back, a little acting job as well. But the New Orleans Hornets have really found some momentum on their side, and they're really rolling with it. Now, that's the thing about a young team, a team that's going to lose a lot of basketball games this year. Are they going to be able to continue to play team-style basketball in the midst of a losing streak? That's the question that Byron Scott's going to have to ask his team. A lot of teams in the NBA, as they lose games, players become more selfish and start jacking up shots, and they get away from the team concept.
David Wesley trying to stay with Claxton down that baseline. Nice pass inside. John Barry with a great play, and I thought that ball went off the foot of P.J. Brown, but Barry came around from the weak side, and P.J. was ready to dunk this ball home. Watch this again. Great pass by Claxton.
P.J. had Yao on his back, and John Barry came in from the weak side. P.J. didn't see him there.
5 seconds, down to 4. Nakbar to the basket, and he runs over. They're going to call that basket good. So Nakbar with a 3-point opportunity.
Juwan Howard does not sell this charge well enough.
Was he in the circle?
Looks like he's out of it, but he didn't act well enough. He saw Boki Nakbar coming down the lane, and Boki threw that right knee up. Juwan figures, hey, it's preseason. I'm not going to take one in the stomach now, and Boki able to get that 3-point play.
So Nakbar coming alive, looking for point number 14 here, and he's averaging, you see, just over 11 points a game in the preseason. And he gets the 3-point play the old-fashioned way, and that 14-point Houston lead has evaporated. It's only 2. Now, we joked about Rockets not needing Tracy McGrady. This is where you need your superstars when you got a go-to guy.
Yeah, the Rockets need a bucket right now. They don't have a legitimate point guard on the court.
Well, wait a minute. What about John Barry?
How about that?
That's a go-to guy.
That is a go-to guy.
JB says, give it to JB. That's me. I'll go for 3.
How about that little reverse? Little English off the glass. John Barry showing some, look at this. He's showing some hang time.
This is the old-fashioned way.
Hang time for JB. Derek Anderson is playing the point guard with this lineup. And then you've got John Barry and David Wesley, and Ryan Bowen just checked in to go even smaller. Still have Yao in the center position, but Jeff Van Gundy trying to find some life from some of his bench players.
Big 3-point play for John Barry. John's come off the bench for 7 points. 66-61 Rockets. 3:40 left to play in the third quarter. Claxton inside for 2 and maybe 3. West got wide open. That's Speedy Claxton playing a heck of a game.
Well, he's been a great pro for many years. Let's watch this replay. Now, Ryan Bowen is the guy who's got to rotate. He's got to either pick up P.J. Brown in the corner or West. Ryan shows P.J. in the corner, and nice pass from Speedy Claxton inside to David West for the three-point play.
So David West gets a three-point play the old-fashioned way. He has 12, 14 for Knockbar, 12 for Smith. And a whistle, and that'll be 2 free throws as J.R. Smith. Now, that's a dumb foul because you take a little wind out of your sails.
Now let's watch this pick and roll here. Now watch Ryan Bowen. Here's Ryan Bowen. He is the guy who's got to pick up the roller. Now stop it there. Here comes P.J. Brown. P.J.'s going to come to this area, and there's David West. Ryan's got to decide. Go ahead and run it. Ryan chooses P.J. And right when he goes that way, nice pass inside to David West.
To me, though, Matt, that looks like something's wrong. Well, are you allowing one guy to have to guard 2? Is that the game?
That's right. When you have a double team, then you have 3 guys to guard 4. And Ryan Bowen had to guard those 2 guys. Now, P.J. Brown is the type of guy who can hit that 15-foot jump shot off the pick and roll, so that's why Ryan Bowen was hedging towards P.J. Brown.
2 big free throws by Derek Anderson. And P.J. that time, Yao Ming did not come out on P.J. Brown. And the Hornets trading baskets with the Rockets. 2-point game.
Seems like Byron Scott has figured out a weakness in the Rockets' defense, and has been able to get his team the open jump shots that they need.
Down to Yao on the post. Double team comes over. Somebody's open. Anderson shoots it up short. And the ball is loose.
Ryan goes into the stands there.
So the Hornets will have it. 2:54 left to play in the third quarter. When we come back, the Hornets will try to tie this game or even take the lead. It's been a great comeback. This place is buzzing with these Hornets. 68-66 Houston, and it's time to check in on tonight's AIG Big Man Watch. That's the stats. Yao Ming, again, having a pretty solid game.
P.J. Brown got into early foul trouble, but has played well here in the second half as the Hornets have made a big comeback on the Rockets.
Rockets again playing tonight without Tracy McGrady. They, of course, missed their superstar, but they felt like they needed to rest his knees. He had a little tendonitis in both legs, and so Jeff Van Gundy didn't feel the importance of playing him in the final 2 preseason games. He'll lead the NBA. He'll be among the top 3 in minutes played per game when the season's over.
Well, and for the last 8 seasons, he's played top 5 minutes in the NBA, too. So if you played that many minutes, Bill, your knees would be sore, too.
They are anyway. Claxton gets the penetration over to Knockbar, and he stepped out of bounds. You know, Matt, there's not a lot of room over there. When you make that three-point shot from the corner, you have to be careful, don't you?
Yeah, you can't be shuffling your feet around over there. There's only about 2.5 feet between the three-point line and the out-of-bounds line. That's one of those areas that you can get stepped out of bounds very easily.
You see about 4 or 5 of those calls made every game. All right, they're going down to Derek Anderson. Rockets in need of a big basket here to stem the tide. Oh, look at Ryan Bowen. He glassed in, but he missed the layup. Yao Ming keeps it alive. Knockball with a foul. Boy, Boki looked like he may have blocked that.
Derek Anderson able to draw the double team. Great cut by Ryan Bowen, not able to get that ball to go in. And how about Yao coming from the weak side fighting for that ball? Able to get it. Oh, there's a foul out. P.J. Brown. Yep.
But did you see Yao turn? Look at him turn completely around to get this rebound. Great awareness by Yao Ming.
Never been a 7'6" guy that has played this game with the kind of talent and the kind of skills that Yao Ming has.
It's a good point you make, Matt, because he may look slow from time to time, but he's 7'6", and dexterity is so important to realize. We've never had a guy that big.
Yeah, I mean
Murzon.
Yeah, and Sean Bradley is 7'6", not a very a skilled basketball player, and then you've got like Manute Bol, who is just a shot blocker and three-point shooter, I guess. You know, but Yao Ming, I mean, yeah, you say he looks slow, but at 7'6", he's much quicker than any of those players we just mentioned.
And Yao now is 34 at 37 from the free-throw line in the preseason. And there goes Speedy again. And it's a two-point Houston lead with under 2 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Now to Yao on the right elbow. And that's the 14th turnover by Houston. 10 turnovers by the Hornets. I agree with Jeff.
Yeah,
I don't think that's travel.
I wanted to see that again because it didn't look like traveling to me. I mean, this is the NBA.
And Wesley had to get a hand on him.
Let's watch Yao travel here. His left foot is the pivot foot. There's his pivot foot. Well, he did shuffle it a little bit, but I'll tell you what. That is a move in the NBA you'll see 15 times a game, a little shuffle of the pivot foot before you go.
But the referee, by the book, made the correct call.
Who was the official a few games back that told us that he likes to call it not how he sees it, but how it actually is? I think it was Mark McCutcheon. But anyway, officials don't call it as you see it. Call it what it really is.
That's what Jake O'Donnell taught him when he came into the league. Is Jake said that, call it as it should be.
Right.
Well, each official has his own way of officiating a game. I personally like the ones that talk to the players. Makes it a little more personal. Rockets break the press easily. Derek Anderson with no hesitation, short on the shot, knocked out of the rebound, and the Hornets now with a chance to take their first lead in a long time. Oh, Barry almost got the steal.
John Barry was laying in the weeds on that one.
Early in the game, the Hornets led by as many as 4 points. The Rockets had led by as many as 22. J.R. Smith. Come all the way back. They may be making some fans here tonight.
I'd be willing to bet that the New Orleans Hornets have not heard cheering like this in a long time.
4 seconds, down to 3, down to 2. Ryan Bowen gets it off in time, short, follows it up, and lost the ball. This crowd is really into it. Don't tell them it's a preseason game. Boki Nakbar for 3, too hard. Brown over the back. Wesley knocks it to D.A., and the Rockets will set it up. Rockets can go for the final shot. There's about a 3-second difference. Shot clock, game clock.
This is where you need a go-to player. Tracy McGrady would be that guy, but right now with the players on the court, I think Yao is the go-to guy.
Missed it. 7 seconds. Claxton. PJ blocked by Yao Ming. And that will end the quarter. So quite a rally. 14-point deficit. The Rockets are outscored by 16 points in the third quarter, and the Hornets have taken the lead. Welcome back to Oklahoma City, where the Hornets outscored the Rockets 39-23 in that third quarter. And Matt, what happened to the Houston Rockets defense?
Well, the New Orleans Hornets were able to make some adjustments at halftime, found a weakness in the Rockets defense where they were able to get some open jump shots. And then on the other end of the court, the Hornets came out on the full-court press and changed the tempo of the game. Very impressed with the coaching job that Byron Scott did at halftime to get his team back in this game.
Well, Byron did a good job. Now Jeff will counter as he will start the fourth quarter with Rafer Alston, Wesley in the backcourt, Juwan Howard and Ronnie Baxter in the game along with John Barry. So Baxter for the first time, we'll see him. He had an outstanding summer with the Summer League team for the Rockets, and he looks like he has made this team. Big body by Baxter, and stepping out of bounds, Rajuel Butler. And that defense extended itself a little bit and played harder on that possession.
Well, I imagine that they were told to in no uncertain terms during that timeout.
I don't think I've ever seen a Jeff Van Gundy team give up 39 points. That's a lot of points. Baker Alston now brings a little more speed to the point guard position, but he lost the handle. And another turnover by Houston. That's 15 turnovers by the Rockets. Down the baseline. Contact. And a foul call on Lonnie Baxter.
They called that block because Lonnie was in that restricted area. Let's watch. A lot of contact from John Barry right there on the ball, and Lonnie Baxter is in that restricted area. That's why Dick Pavetta called a block.
Lonnie Baxter, as I said, looks like he may have made the final roster cut. He's played very well when he's been used in the preseason. And Lonnie with his 4th team in 4 years.
Our good friend Jim Foley, who does the radio broadcast, mentioned something that the Rockets gave up 6 players at the end of the roster from last year who average age was 32 years old. The 6 players that replaced them on this year's roster averaged 27 years old.
And probably can play more. Because you're talking about Weatherspoon, you're talking about Ben Baker, and a blocking foul. You have to allow the offensive man the position, and that's what J.R. Smith did not do.
Juwan Howard comes down, and then J.R. Smith, no room for Juwan to move, and then the flop. Officials call that block.
22nd timeout is being taken by Jeff Van Gundy. The Rockets are not getting the ball in the right hands to break this pressure.
Right. You know, the pressure, full court pressure in the NBA should have no effect on an NBA team. Ball handlers and passing are just too good in the NBA to be stopped by a full court press. And Jeff Van Gundy not happy at all with how his team is breaking the press.
The press has forced the Rockets into bad shots, and only 13 shots. So that's more turnovers than shots.
Yeah, and then how about that shooting percentage for the Hornets? They're taking advantage of Rockets' missed shots and turnovers and getting easy shots. Now, Jeff Van Gundy does not want Juwan Howard to be handling the ball 90 feet from the basket on this full-court press.
So John Barry will bring it in. Raker Alston will come back to set it up. Speedy Claxton will guard the ball. Alston got in early foul trouble, hasn't played a lot tonight. Alston looking down to Baxter. Baxter going to set a pick. 5 seconds, down to 4. Wesley's going to have to shoot it. 3, down to 2. David with a tough shot, missed it. Rebound Baxter, and he'll bring it out for Houston. Now that's what Baxter brings to the party. He is a good rebounder. Juwan Howard, offensive foul on Howard. Might be on Juwan's side on that one.
Let's watch and see if the defender has his feet set.
No, he grabbed him. Did you see Broman grab his arm? Jackson Broman. Watch him grab his right arm right there, see?
Yeah, they're definitely.
When he came down with that arm, that's a foul.
That's a foul on the defense. That's a good eye, Bill.
Shoot, I've been fouled so much. No, I fouled so much. I know how to do it. Butler. Give it up to Claxton again on the drive, and he left it up in the air. He got up on his feet with no place to go. You don't leave your feet. John Barry, you better get on him, and he missed it. Going to be run down, and Wesley carries it out of bounds. John was right on. He just missed it a touch.
I talked to John Barry about his 3-pointers on the break before the game. That's one of his favorite shots. I'm sure he'd like to have that one back. He doesn't normally miss 3-pointers like that.
No, but JB came into this game shooting 47% from behind the arc, and that's about where he finished last season. So that that's his norm, and so anybody that shoots close to 50%, you want him to shoot it as much as possible.
A 3-point shooter, anytime you shoot better than 33%, you're doing well. But 40% is a pretty good number to shoot for.
5 on the shot clock. Nice move, and a whistle on Houston again. Lonnie Baxter.
You mentioned Lonnie Baxter comes in the game. He's aggressive. He brings a lot of energy. He's a big body who moves quickly. He's one of those players you like to have on the end of your bench. If you need to throw him in for 5 minutes to really get your team pumped up, or you need to go in there and have somebody play physical, Lonnie Baxter's the guy you want on your team.
They'll bring it in on the side. That's the second team foul on the Rockets, one team foul on the Hornets. And West is limping off the court. P.J. Brown will come back in. Now, this is a preseason game, and of course, both teams want to win, but I think the Hornets would love to win in front of this home crowd because this is a very enthusiastic, almost a sellout tonight for a preseason game.
And the Hornets are a team that needs a little momentum, that needs some confidence.
Great defense. Steal by Rafer Alston and a foul by Speedy Claxton. Did you see that trap? He never saw Rafer Alston.
Well, Rafer's so quick. And that's the kind of defense that Rockets normally play. Now, coming off this pick and roll, see, it's supposed to be a pick and roll with P.J. Brown, but Rafer's able to get him to turn, and Lonnie Baxter right there to shut him down.
When you get a player to turn, that's great defense, isn't it? When you get in this league, you want to turn a player. There's a double team on Alston. Swinging around to JB, down to Baxter. Baxter with a jump, puck off the glass for two. I like this kid. He really had the minutes that he has played in this preseason. He says, "Play me more, coach."
Well, Lonnie Baxter, can the coach find him any minutes during the regular season? We don't know, but he's definitely making a good point.
Butler with a wild shot, and Alston with the rebound. Quickly up ahead to JB. To the middle, Barry gets a double team and has it stolen. Cross court, Broman with the left hand. Somebody hung on the rim, and there's Butler. 76-72 Hornets, 8:40 left. 17 turnovers by Houston. Just 2 minutes. I'll say another thing. The Hornets are playing much better defense now, and that's the best the Rockets could get, but that's good enough as David Wesley buries the three.
Well, Hornets fans have seen that many, many times. David Wesley realizing that was a possession that the Rockets really needed to get some points, and he knocked down that three.
1 point game. Claxton in the paint. Got an easy jumper, but he missed it. Maybe the easiest shot he gets tonight. Rockets now trying to regain that lead again. Alston spinning inside, sets up Juwan. He hasn't missed.
Nice pass from Rafer Alston. Now, the team that the Rockets have on the court right now, in a regular season, you wouldn't normally see them out there on the court together in the fourth quarter, but Jeff Van Gundy leaving them out there to see what they can come up with.
This is Oklahoma City crowd saying, boy, these pros score in a hurry, don't they? Rockets were down. They scored 5 in a row to take the lead by 1. Well, the Rockets with 5 points in a row have regained the lead and forced a timeout by the Hornets.
What about the Texans?
Well, that's another conversation. Although, believe it or not, the Texans are favored this Sunday by 2 points over Cleveland. And an offensive foul is, or defensive foul is, offensive foul is called. This is a good call here because he kicked out. This is the old Reggie Miller call. Remember how Reggie would shoot the three? He would kick his legs out and draw a foul, and that's what was called on that shot.
Yeah, Reggie Miller used to get the call. J.R. Smith, he got the call go against him on that one. Watch out.
Lonnie Baxter, what a heads-up play. That ball was laying out there for anybody to pick up. Baxter dove towards the basket and put it up and in and drew the foul.
See, Juwan Howard was trying to make a baseline pass. It was deflected, and Lonnie Baxter, the right place at the right time. Watch this deflection there, and then boom, Lonnie sees it. Contact. Yeah, I got it to go in.
Lonnie says, man, that doesn't surprise me. That's the way I played at Maryland when I won a national championship.
Did it all summer with the Rockets Summer League team?
He did. He had a great summer, and that's what got him an invite to the Rockets camp this year, and he's made him a team. J.R. Smith from Tulsa. Wow. 18 points for J.R.
Wow, J.R. Smith, does he have a fluorescent green light or what?
Yeah, these two teams trading baskets now. Rockets up by a point. Wesley turns it corner. Back outside to Jawan. Jawan with 5 on the shot clock. And, oh no. Dick changed his mind. He was going to call a foul, and he changed his mind.
Watch out, Jawan's going to get a technical if he's not careful. That's what Jawan drives it in. I don't know, very, very tough call. That's that fine line of who has the advantage on that contact, and Dick Bavetta was going to call a foul on the defense, but changed his mind, and with that, Juwan Howard fouls out of the game.
Yeah, that's 6 on Juwan. So the Rockets with a 1-point lead, and they've got to play some defense. Baxter comes out on that wing. Claxton keeps the dribble alive, then forces a bad pass. That's the 15th turnover by the Hornets. Rockets. Rafer Alston. And to Baxter, and he's fouled. He'll shoot 2. Baxter is really active.
And that was a nifty pass from Rafer. Rafer was going to go baseline with it and saw Baxter at the last second. Let's watch Lonnie Baxter run in the court. Rafer goes baseline, going to go, and they sees Lonnie at the last second. And Lonnie Baxter, nice job of being active, getting the ball up on the rim.
Now, one thing they teach you early is never leave your feet, because
to pass,
yeah, to pass, and yet you see a lot of pros still do it.
Still do it, yeah. That's something. You see Steve Nash. He's, in my opinion, the best point guard in the NBA. He never leaves his feet. He's always dribbling the basketball. Sometimes he'll go baseline, keep that dribble alive, come all the way back out to the front. And that's one of those things that Steve Nash gets 4 or 5 assists a game because he doesn't leave his feet. He still keeps his dribble.
Rockets lead up to 3 now with 6 minutes left to play. P.J. Brown. Speedy Claxton and Austin call for the foul, and that is the 3rd team foul on the Rockets. The Hornets have 4 team fouls, and for Austin, that's his 5th foul of the game. So already, 1 Rocket is fouled out, and Austin with 5. Boy, good play. The Rockets with a 22-point lead in the first half. A great game has broken out here.
Gotta live it.
With 6 points and 2 rebounds.
Rockets trying to live it here in the 4th quarter. Not a group of guys you normally would see at this point in a regular season game, but great opportunity for guys like Lonnie Baxter to get some good, meaningful minutes here in the preseason.
Both teams now, the Rockets have 3 team fouls, the Hornets have 4. So if the Rockets can force another foul here, they'll start going to the free throw line with just under 6 minutes left to play. You know, a couple of years ago when T-Mac first came to the team, if the Rockets don't have him in the game, they had no chance of winning. But at least without T-Mac in the preseason, they won last night, and they're in this game tonight.
Well, it's a much different story now with the personnel that the Rockets have on this team, but still, you don't want to have to play without T-Mac very often.
I hate it. Jackson Bowman traveled.
You said he was from Iowa State, right?
Yep. Jackson says, I'm not used to being the man out on the wing. Well, he was in college, though.
I was just mentioning how, guys like Ryan Bowen and Jackson Broman, guys who go to Iowa colleges can really jump.
And you? 10 seconds on the shot clock. David Wesley to John Berry. Berry gets it inside the 2. That's a good lean-in jumper by John Berry.
That shot is a lot more difficult than you would think it was. John Berry able to knock that ball down as he's floating through the air.
It's 9 points for JB. Rockets up by 5 now. Jackson Broman again. Takes it inside and draws the charge. Lonnie Baxter again. Boy, Lonnie has come in this game. When he came in, the Rockets were trailing, and now they have a 5-point lead. And the ball.
Jackson Broman trying to take it in again. Lonnie Baxter sets his feet. That's some great defense right there. I'll tell you what, Lonnie Baxter, you look at him and you say, what does he do best? Well, I don't know what it is he does best, but he does a lot of things very well. And defense, offense, he's made his free throws tonight.
The rap on Lonnie is he's 6'8". He's not quite big enough at 260, but he plays big. He occupies a lot of space.
And at 260, he's still very quick. A lot of guys that are 6'8", 260 are slow. Lonnie's not slow by any means, and he affects the game. You know, when he comes in, the tempo just seems to shift, and that's the type of guy Rockets are really fortunate to have him on the end of the bench.
Pass inside to Berry. Berry gives it back to Ray for Austin. Shot clock a factor now. It's down to 4, down to 3. From the deep corner, it just kisses the iron, and Gorman with the rebound.
Notice the Hornets have pretty much their starting lineup in, while the Rockets have guys who aren't normally their starters.
Knock bar from the corner. Bogey with 4 3-pointers tonight. Knock bar with 17 points. He's trying to show the Rockets they made a bad decision. And an offensive foul is called on John Berry. Bogey smiling said,
yeah. Bogey got away with one there. I don't know what it was, but John Berry not happy at all with that call. Let's see if we have it on the replay. Watch. Technical foul on John Berry. We weren't able to see it on that replay, but Bogey somehow did something to John Berry. John Berry retaliated. Officials always see the second foul, and then, hopefully you don't read lips, John Berry got a technical.
well, I read lips, but this is a family show. PJ gets the free throw, and Luther Head will check in for John Berry.
Here's the action right there. Let's see. Okay, John Berry does push him off, but I don't know what, Bogey was smiling as he walked away, so.
Well, you always get the second guy. He must have done something earlier. 84-83 now. It's back to a 1-point Houston lead. I'll say one thing, Speedy Claxton, if you check the turnovers, he's probably going to have more turnovers than he does assists. He's got 7 assists tonight. How many turnovers does he have?
Well, he's got 7 turnovers as well.
Okay. So, he giveth and he taketh away.
Yes.
84-83 Rockets. Rayford to the basket, missed it. Bowman with a rebound. Quickly to J.R. Smith.
He was shooting it well. I passed him. I thought he was going to shoot it.
And we have a holding foul.
Is that 10 yards?
Yes, it is. And possession of the ball.
On the first down.
Ryan Bowen. Butler will come in. I thought Bowman did a pretty good job. Played 21 minutes here tonight. He has not scored, but he's done a good job on the boards.
Officials trying to get the shot clock right. I'll tell you what, this final preseason game is very, very competitive here in the fourth quarter, and got players getting technicals, getting mad at calls, and a lot of contact out there, physical.
Yeah, I think they're putting their game faces on for the regular season.
Well, now's the time.
And 3.5 minutes left to play. The Rockets lead at 84-83. Both teams are in the penalty now for the final 3.5 minutes.
We've got some fans in this arena that are standing for the final 3.5 minutes. I'll tell you what, how many NBA arenas are there with fans standing?
Butler gets the offensive rebound, but he throws it into the backcourt, and that will be a violation. So the Rockets get a big break there. And Jeff Van Gundy is going now with Wesley, Bowen, Baxter, Luther Head.
Oh, you see the Rockets turnovers.
Alston. That's a very small lineup, isn't it?
Very, very small lineup. And Luther Head into the game. We've seen this before. He's the fourth quarter man, and he doesn't play the whole game. He comes in the fourth quarter when it really matters.
Well, wait for him. He'll make a big three then. Ryan Bowen is left open. He hesitated, but he made it. And Ryan Bowen,
you can see with that hesitation, he still doesn't feel totally confident with his jump shot. But hey, you're an NBA player, you got an open jump shot, that's your job to knock it down, and he did.
86-83 Houston. Butler will spot up with the jumper.
Rashul Butler. 86-85 Rockets. 2.5 minutes left to play. Bowen's open again. Bowen misses this time, but he gets a loose ball. Look at the hustle by David Wesley.
Those are the type of things that David Wesley can do. Even if he's not hitting his jump shot, he's still active, still plays defense. Got his hand on that ball.
Wait for Alston. Over to David. David gets open for a three. He misses. Baxter trying to keep it alive. Baxter and Bowen. And Boki Nakbar comes out of there with the ball. Baxter, Bowen, and Boki.
That's the winning version of the Killer Bees.
Yes. 1:48 left to play. Oh, from the parking lot. J.R. Smith. Man. Well, if he'd have hit that, this place would have gone absolutely nuts. 135 and counting. Rockets up by a point.
Since he didn't hit it, his coach went absolutely nuts.
That's right. Wait for Alston with a long three, and he misses. Neither team getting good shots down the stretch.
It's a great opportunity for both teams to really get some execution down the stretch when it really matters, but neither team getting good shots.
Claxton on the drive and a whistle, and that'll bail him out. So we have a timeout on the court. When we come back, Speedy will be at the line trying to give the Hornets a lead. 1:12 left to play. Those were some beautiful scenes from Bricktown in downtown Oklahoma City. We're only a couple of blocks from there. Here in the Ford Center, as you see the Rockets outscoring the Hornets by 3 points. 15,063 in attendance for this final preseason game for the Rockets. The Hornets having a good turnout tonight, and the fans have really been treated to if not a solidly played basketball game, at least an exciting one.
A very competitive game. And the fans here in Oklahoma City standing for the last half of the fourth quarter.
They're into it.
Yeah,
they really are.
It's great to see an NBA arena. I guess this is a temporary one, but
college
still,
atmosphere.
yeah, really the fans are making this fun.
Speedy Claxton gives the Hornets a 1-point lead with 1:10 left to play. Possessions come down to a precious few. Luther Head turns the corner. Luther Head for two. We've seen it time and time again in the preseason as Jeff Van Gundy turns the team over to a rookie down the stretch.
Doesn't even play in the first 3 quarters, comes in and hits a big shot.
Claxton on the perimeter. Shot clock down to 10 seconds, 43 seconds left in the game. Speedy back out. Butler has to throw up a three. He misses. The rebound inside to Lonnie Baxter. So it's Baxter and Luther Head making the key plays down the stretch.
The Rockets have to shoot. About 11-second differential, so they want to get a good shot.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Taking it inside. Wesley from the corner. Missed it. And Butler with a rebound. 10 seconds left. Hornets will push it up. No timeout. They're going for the win. Claxton on the drive. Claxton reverses it. Misses it. PJ puts up the winner. PJ Brown with an offensive rebound. And the Hornets win the game.
Let's watch the clock. The ball goes in with 4/10 of a second. The game is not over. Here's the play. Speedy Claxton drives, throws up a wild one. P.J. Brown with the ball goes in, but still, there should have been some time on the clock as the ball went in. Dick Pavetta saying 4/10 of a second left for the Rockets. Well, look at P.J. Brown. He's the only guy in the arena not going crazy. He's been around this league so long.
12-year veteran.
Yeah,
he knows it's a preseason game.
It's a preseason game. He's like, okay, I made the shot, but it doesn't really count.
Now check it again, Matt, because the officials keep the time, don't they?
Yeah, when the ball goes in, watch the shot clock up there. The ball, maybe 3/10 is right.
I think 3/10, and that's the final number that you can actually catch and shoot.
Right. 3/10 is if it's below 3/10, you can't catch it and shoot it. You've got to tip it. With 3/10 or 4/10 of a second, you can actually catch it and shoot it. And that rule came into effect from Baron Davis when he was playing for the Charlotte Hornets. Caught the ball, turned around, hit a shot. Off the glass.
Rockets had a 22-point lead in the first half, but the Hornets have erased it. They lead it 89-88. The Rockets will get the final shot. I don't know how good it will be. The Rockets, did they call a timeout?
They call a timeout. They'll be able to move the ball to the front court, and this is a great opportunity for Jeff Van Gundy.
I don't think they move it to the front court. Do they?
Yeah, they call a timeout. They move it to the front court. Great opportunity for Jeff Van Gundy and the Rockets to draw up their last-second play.
It'll be Baxter, Alston, Head, Wesley, and Barry will bring the ball in. Now remember, you can catch and shoot, but you can't do anything else. You've got to be faced up.
I'd like to see Luther Head with the ball.
Right now, we need you. Make some noise.
That's the final timeout for Houston.
Now on that play, the Rockets were looking for a back door for Lonnie Baxter. John Barry knew that he had timeouts left, didn't like what he saw, didn't force the ball in. That's when you want a veteran like John Barry as your inbounds passer to make smart decisions. Now let's watch. Lonnie Baxter's right here. He's going to set a pick, and then there's going to be a back pick right there. Lonnie Baxter looking for the ball, but the switch, the Hornets able to switch that, and John Barry sees that, doesn't like it, calls a timeout.
Well, we have seen in the NBA some of the great shots of all time occur with 4/10 of a second left.
I played in the game, Bill, for 4/10 of a second. Rudy put me in the last 4/10 of a second. I never even stepped onto the court. I walked down, checked into the game at the scorer's table, walked down, threw the ball into Vernon Maxwell. Vernon hit a turnaround 30-footer to put the game into overtime. I went and sat back down, never got in the game again. Had an assist in 4/10 of a second.
I remember that game. That was
against Miami.
Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a miracle comeback. Okay, let's see where John Barry will go. Now, the Rockets are out of timeouts. Both teams are in the penalty, but that shouldn't play a part here unless I can't imagine them fouling on the last shot.
Well, that would be a big mistake if they did. Now, the Rockets have to drop a different play since the Hornets saw that last one.
It does not count.
He got a good look, though.
And the New Orleans / Oklahoma City Hornets pull it out. The Rockets go to 6-2 on the preseason. And the Hornets win before an enthusiastic gathering of 15,000. Final score, 89-88. Tune in for our next telecast. It'll be the opener next Wednesday, November 2nd. Rockets will kick off the season with the Sacramento Kings. Coverage begins at 7 on FSN Houston. Stay tuned. The Busch Light Southwest Sports Report is next.
Welcome to your Busch Light Southwest Sports Report. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Rick Renner. We're here to wrap up your Rockets preseason finale and so much more. The Rockets with an impressive 6-2 record in the preseason, and tonight they did it without the services of MVP candidate Tracy McGrady. Let's show you how it shook out on FSN Houston in a wild one in Oklahoma City. Insert Derek Anderson for T-Mac. And the new Rocket looked good. Takes it to the hole, the bucket, the hoop, and the harm, and we are tied at 13. Then another new Rocket. Rafer, Alston, skip to Malou, the steal, nice pass to Yao Ming, and the high percentage shot. Houston up 12 after 1. Then in the second, John Barry with the nice no-look pass to the new Rockets. Miles Swift out of the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Houston built up a 19-point lead. Third frame, it's the NBA, and everybody makes a run, even in the preseason. J.R. Smith nails the trifecta. The Hornets by 2. Houston's 22-point lead is gone. We go down to the final moments in the fourth quarter. 88-87 Rockets, under 10 seconds left. Speedy Claxton, no. P.J. Brown, pajamas, puts it through, and the Hornets win in Oklahoma City, 89-88. How about it? A nice win by the Hornets. It's the preseason. The Rockets will open up the new season at the Toyota Center next Wednesday. Can't wait for that. Time now to kick it back out to the scene of the crime and rejoin the dynamic duo of Bill Worrell and Matt Bullard. Guys, a wild finish to get us ready for, I guess, the regular season, huh?
Yeah, it really was not an artistic game by any means, Rick, but an exciting game down the stretch. And wouldn't you know, an offensive rebound and a putback would win the game.
Well, P.J. Brown, my man, put it in to win for the Hornets. Of course, he was the only guy in the arena who didn't really care if it went in or not. We'll watch P.J. Brown as Speedy Claxton comes in and throws up a wild one. P.J. gets the rebound, just lays it in calmly. He says, I've been doing that for 12 years. What's the big deal?
Yeah, one of the leading offensive rebounders in his NBA career, and he does it again there. Rockets playing without Tracy McGrady. We didn't see any Yao Ming in the fourth quarter, and Luther Head and Lonnie Baxter playing some big minutes down the stretch.
A lot of decisions for Jeff Van Gundy on what the rotations are going to be, who's going to play where. A lot of good talent on this Rockets team this year.
So, Rick, the Rockets are glad the preseason's over. They finish at 6-2, and they get ready for Sacramento to open the season in Houston next Wednesday night.